Hello, so let's talk about risk, not the fun kind, like asking someone to a dance or trying a mystery-flavored soda. We're talking about a bigger, sneakier kind of risk. It's called strategic risk. Imagine you're the captain of a giant ship. You have a map, you have a destination, you have a whole lot of ocean in front of you. Strategic risk is not the storm you can see on the horizon. It's the possibility your map is outdated. It's the chance a new, faster kind of ship has been invented. It's the risk your destination isn't the cool place to be anymore. It's the risk your entire plan, your strategy, is fundamentally flawed. In simple terms, strategic risk is the danger from big decisions about a company's future. It's the risk the path you've chosen leads to a cliff. This isn't about small operational hiccups, like a coffee machine breaking or a single shipment being late. This is about the fundamental choices that define a company and where it's going. Think of it as the difference between tripping on the sidewalk and realizing you've been walking confidently in the wrong direction for 3 hours. One is an inconvenience. The other needs a complete reevaluation. That, in a nutshell, is strategic risk. These risks are often subtle. They creep up on you. They disguise themselves as business as usual. For a company, this could be sticking with an old beloved product while a new technology quietly changes everything. It's the risk of being so focused on doing things right, you fail to notice if you're doing the right things. It can hurt profits for a quarter. It can threaten a company's existence. It's the quiet before the storm. And here's the kicker. Every single organization faces strategic risk. Corner coffee shops to massive tech giants. You can't eliminate it. You can't hide from it. The goal isn't zero risk. The goal is to understand it, to see it coming, and to have a smart plan for when it shows up at your door. Okay, so you might be thinking this is all very interesting for CEOs and corporate bigwigs, but I'm just trying to remember to water my plants. But here's the thing, strategic risk is everywhere. You manage it all the time, even if you don't use that fancy term. Let's say you spent years studying to become a travel agent who specializes in booking cruises. That was your big strategy. But then, the internet happened. Suddenly everyone could book their own trips online, faster and cheaper. That shift is a perfect real-life example of strategic risk. Or consider a more personal example. Imagine buying a house in a small, quiet town because you love the peaceful atmosphere and cheap property. But 5 years later, a massive new highway is built right next to your neighborhood. The peace is gone. Property values might go up, but the reason you moved there, your core strategy, has been undermined. Even smaller choices have this element. Say you buy all your electronics from one brand. They work together seamlessly. What if that company suddenly goes out of business or changes charging ports, making all your old accessories obsolete? The risk wasn't in one device failing. The risk was tying your strategy to the fate of one company you don't control. So, you see, this isn't just for boardrooms. It's a fundamental human challenge. It's about making long-term bets in a world that refuses to stand still. Choosing a college major, getting married, investing savings, these are strategic bets on the future. Understanding strategic risk isn't about becoming an analyst. It's about becoming a smarter navigator of your own life's journey. Recognize the map is always changing. The better you get at reading the map, the less likely you are to be surprised when the terrain changes. Ask, what assumptions am I making? What would happen if they were wrong? Diversify your information diet. Read broadly. Follow smart people in different fields. Run small experiments. Buy information. Don't bet the farm on a single assumption. Understanding strategic risk helps you make smarter, more resilient decisions, both in business and in life. So why is this so important? Why dedicate an essay to it? Because ignoring strategic risk is like playing chess but only looking one move ahead. You might capture a pawn, but you won't see the checkmate that's been setting up for the last 10 turns. For a business, the consequences are brutal and swift. A company that fails to see a major market shift doesn't just have a bad year. It becomes a cautionary tale. Remember when that giant went away? Think about the stakes. Massive financial losses, layoffs that affect thousands of families, collapse of institutions. It's about more than money, legacy, innovation, and the livelihoods of real people. A company that manages strategic risk well can pivot, adapt, and see the future coming. Skate to where the puck is going to be, as Wayne Gretzky said. Ignore it, and you'll be left where the puck used to be. For individuals, stakes are just as high. Career stagnation, financial instability, a life that feels stuck. Think about someone who refused to learn basic computer skills in the 1990s. Their strategy was to rely on the old ways. For a while it worked, but eventually the world moved on. They were left behind, struggling in a job market requiring new skills. Recognizing these shifts isn't just about getting ahead, it's about not getting left behind. It gives you agency, you stop reacting and start anticipating and shaping your future. Instead of a leaf blown by winds of change, be a kite that uses those winds to soar. Acknowledge that plans might be wrong and actively look for signs that the world is changing. Companies and people who do this not only survive, they thrive. You empower yourself to make smarter, more resilient decisions. So where do these big, scary risks actually come from? They don't appear out of thin air. They have sources, and they often fall into a few predictable categories. One of the biggest culprits is a change in the market. Customers' tastes, needs, or behaviors shift. Another major source is technology. This one is relentless. A new invention can upend an industry overnight. Digital photography made film cameras mostly obsolete. Streaming changed music and movies. A company can be the best at making a product, but if new tech makes it unnecessary, it doesn't matter. Legal and regulatory changes are another source. Governments change the rules. New environmental regulations, trade policy shifts, or data privacy laws, these can create major strategic risks. If your strategy depends on collecting vast user data, a law like GDPR can make your business model a liability. And finally, competitor risk. A nimble new company can change the basis of competition. They might offer a revolutionary business model, subscription versus one-off purchases, or similar quality at a fraction of the price. If the basis of competition changes, you must adapt or risk irrelevance. In short, market shifts, technology, regulation, and competitors, those are the typical origin stories of strategic risk. The ground has moved. What was once solid is now sand. Any strategy that assumes the current landscape will last forever is at risk. When a new law restricts data, a data-dependent business faces severe consequences. When a competitor changes the basis of competition, you must ask, compete on price, on quality, or on service. That decision defines whether you adapt or fade away. So scan for these sources and prioritize those likely to be both plausible and high impact. Use scenario planning. Technology advances, economy slumps, regulations tighten. Think through each, then act. Okay, so we know what strategic risk is and where it comes from. How do we actually fight it? It's not about having a crystal ball, it's about having a system. First step, build a culture of awareness. Encourage people to ask big, what-if questions. What if our biggest customer leaves? What if a new technology makes our product obsolete? What if our supply chain is disrupted? Make it safe to challenge the status quo and voice concerns. Actively scan the horizon. This is continuous, not a once-a-year meeting. Read widely, not just inside your industry. Pay attention to tech blogs, scientific journals, demographic trends, and regulatory reports. Create a risk radar for the company. Dashboards, indicators, and early warning signs. Formal, set up a dedicated risk team. Informal, hold regular brainstorming about future threats. After identifying risks, assess them. How likely and how bad would the impact be? Prioritize based on likelihood and impact. Focus on plausible, catastrophic risks first. Use scenario planning. Imagine tech advances, economic slumps, stricter regulation. Test your strategy against each. Develop a mitigation strategy based on assessment. Diversify product lines so you're not overly reliant on one offering. Invest in R&D to stay ahead. Change your business model to be more flexible and create contingency playbooks. Be proactive, not reactive. Prepare so change happens by choice, not by force. Adapt by choice. Make resilience part of your organization's DNA. Checklist. Ask hard questions, scan widely, set early warning indicators, run small experiments, diversify. Make experimentation routine. Buy information cheaply and iterate. Turn strategy into a flexible portfolio of bets. If you need a perfect example of failing to manage strategic risk, look no further than Blockbuster. In the early 2000s, Blockbuster was an absolute giant. Thousands of stores, millions of customers. Their strategy was simple. People want movies at home. They will come to our stores to rent them. Then came a tiny startup called Netflix. At first, they mailed DVDs to your home. No late fees, huge selection. Blockbuster reportedly saw it as niche, even had the chance to buy Netflix for $50 million and passed. They failed to see that Netflix addressed a real customer pain, late fees, and a new delivery model. Then, high-speed internet and streaming arrived. an existential threat to physical media. Netflix pivoted towards streaming and skated to where the puck was going. Blockbuster focused on optimizing stores, rearranging deck chairs while the world changed. Foot traffic declined fast. By 2010, they filed for bankruptcy. A multi-billion-dollar empire reduced to rubble, not because they were bad at renting, but because strategy became obsolete. They were blindsided by strategic risks, superior business model, and disruptive tech. Lesson: don't optimize the past, anticipate the future. Take customer pain seriously. Don't reorganize deck chairs on the Titanic. If the ocean itself is changing, move the ship. Blockbuster is a monument to complacency. Let's look at another giant, Nokia. If you had a mobile phone in the late 90s or early 2000s, very likely it was a Nokia, durable, reliable, dominant. Their strategy focused on hardware excellence, many models perfecting the physical device. But consumer needs shifted. Software and user experience became the battleground. Then in 2007, Apple launched the iPhone, huge touchscreen, revolutionary interface, and the App Store. Value shifted from hardware to the ecosystem of apps and services. Nokia's internal software was clunky. They were slow and fragmented in response. Attempts at new OS projects, Symbian MeeGo, were fragmented and late. They clung to the old strategy of hardware diversification while the market moved to software ecosystems. Market share evaporated in a few years. They went from leader to afterthought. In 2013, they sold their handset business to Microsoft. Nokia's downfall, like Blockbuster's, was executing a strategy the world no longer wanted. Lesson: watch where value is moving. Hardware, software, or services, and be willing to shift. If you see the shift, respond decisively. If you ignore it, even greatness can crumble. So how do you avoid becoming the next Blockbuster or Nokia? Let's build a practical toolkit. How do you build your own personal or organizational risk radar? It starts with cultivating a mindset of healthy paranoia. Don't assume what works today will work tomorrow. Actively question your assumptions. Ask, what's the one belief I hold about my business? If it's wrong, would it change everything? Diversify your information diet. Read outside your industry. Tech, science, demographics, climate. Threats often come from places you are not looking. Create a personal board of advisors. Follow experts, listen to podcasts, read books out of your comfort zone. Think like an outsider. If you were a competitor trying to put your company out of business, what would you do? Run a kill the company exercise to identify vulnerabilities before rivals do. Perform strategic stress tests and pilot small changes. Embrace small experiments, buy information cheaply, run A/B tests, iterate. It's what VCs call buying information. Make your strategy a flexible portfolio of bets instead of one monolithic plan. Action steps: diversify products, invest in R&D, create contingency playbooks, set up risk committees. Leadership must create safe channels to speak truth to power and reward contrarian thinking. This toolkit helps you spot early warning signs and act before your best-laid plans become liabilities. Run small pilots to gather data rather than arguing indefinitely in a boardroom. Use iterative cycles to update strategy. Adapt continuously. Make the organization flexible. Remote work, cross-training, modular product roadmaps. This makes your strategy resilient, not perfect, but robust enough to endure surprises. Next, the art of not messing up too badly. Here we are at the end of our tour of strategic risk. It's a big, intimidating concept, but not unbeatable. The world changes, technology evolves, people's desires shift. Blockbuster, Nokia. Not just failures, but lessons about complacency and the arrogance of success. Managing strategic risk is not about one perfect plan. It's about building resilience. A rigid oak holds until a storm snaps it. A flexible bamboo yields and rebounds. Be bamboo, not oak. Foster curiosity. Reward those who challenge assumptions. Constantly scan the horizon. Be humble enough to admit your map is wrong, and brave enough to draw a new one. Lift your head from today's urgent tasks to see tomorrow's trends. It's the difference between managing and leading. Make sure the ladder you climb is against the right wall. Any leader, any company, any individual who wants to build something that lasts must learn to navigate strategic risk. Don't be the captain who goes down with the ship because they couldn't imagine a new kind of ocean. Lift your head, scan widely, reward contrarian voices, run experiments, and hold your plan lightly. Be flexible. Build resilience. Learn to thrive within uncertainty. Strategic risk is the big picture. Lead with curiosity and humility, and you'll last longer than your assumptions. Thanks for watching. If you like this, pick a music option, A, B, or C, and tell us the narrator voice you prefer for the final render. Stay curious, see the horizon, adapt,